Well, I am excited for this interview today. Joining me is actor, comedian, and teacher, Birdy Lane. Welcome to the More Than Your Age podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's very nice to meet you.
It is so nice to meet you. This is just really cool how we got connected. I love it. For the listeners, I've met several people through Threads, and Birdie and I, before we were recording, just were talking about how we connected through Threads. And saw a little brief story about Birdie, and you have had an extensive career of roughly 27 years as both an English and drama teacher. You have taught multiple secondary schools, various creative performing arts. You directed multiple student plays and more. You were mainly the teacher, so the one who inspired others to chase their dreams without, at that time, kind of pursuing your own. But you did do some acting and comedy in the mid-early 90s. Tell me how you got involved in performing.
Okay, so I did a degree in performing arts, and I did drama at school. And I always loved drama, and I was in productions at school, and I did drama. And funny enough, I had a Canadian teacher called Mrs. Sluggett. Her name was, and I remember because when I was at school, it was CSE and O level. So CSE was for the less bright children, and O level was for the brighter ones. And I just said, oh no, I'll just do a CSE. Because I didn't really have that much confidence in myself. And she said, oh, no, you should do O level. And so I did. And then I realized that I think because she said, you're good, I realized, oh, actually, I'm good at this. This is something that I'm naturally good at. So I think the trajectory then for me was A level. I did a completely different thing before A level and after O level, which was hotel administration, and realized that I didn't really want to do that. And then I went and did a degree at 21. So I was a few years older than most people doing it, but there were other people my age and older, but most of them were 18. So I did performing arts, and I suppose that's where I realized I could be creative, because I think the A level was very much scripted and everything was, I didn't really get all of it. I was a bit kind of like, what's going on? What do they mean? But I think that depends on teachers. And my teachers in my degree let us kind of do whatever we wanted and be very expressive. And I met a really good friend there who I'm still friends with now. And we made work. We kind of made our own theatre. And I loved that. But then when I left, everybody else left. And I didn't really know how to, I did want to be a teacher. I did go into my degree to be a drama teacher, but nobody kind of said, oh, this is how you could become an actor, or this is, are you sure you want to be a teacher? And the internet was just coming out when I was doing my degree. It's a brand new thing. Email was a brand new thing. Everybody used to go, oh, send an email, or laugh about it because it was so new, it's just the norm now. And I think now it's so much easier with the internet to just apply for things and find things out. But I felt a little bit lost when I'd finished and everybody had gone. And I thought, oh, I can't make work anymore. And I don't have the studio at college anymore. And everyone's gone and I'm just alone. So I worked for a year, and then I did go and do a PGC, which is a postgraduate certificate in education up north in near Leeds University, and had an amazing time and was really up for being a teacher, a drama teacher and an English teacher. And I loved it. I was passionate and I loved it. And in my very early years, I used to dress up as characters and go into the English classroom and pretend to be a character and then get them to write stories. And then I'd go back in and they were going, it was you. And I go, what are you talking about? What was me? I had to go and see the headmaster and just kind of inspire them that way. And, I absolutely loved it. So, and I'm glad I did it. I'm really glad I did it. And I'm not thinking, oh, I wish I started being an actor years ago. Because like you just reminded me, I did do little bits of acting and comedy, and I suppose the comedy started with my friends that I'd known for years, and we just every time we got together, we laughed and, made up funny stories. So then we wrote a lot. We wrote some stuff and filmed a little bit, but not much really. And then when I was when I was teaching at my last school, I met another lady who we just laughed together all the time, and comedy happened again from that. And I was in a film called Sherry Red Shoes, and I did, you know, like when I was a teacher at the college, I performed with the students. You know, they said, "Oh, Miss, we need a." Well, they didn't call me Miss; they called me by my first name at that college. But they said, "Oh, can you be a mum in Be My Baby, or can you be a shopkeeper in Our Day Out?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I loved it. But I also love teaching, so I never thought I would be an actor. I thought that I was a drama teacher who did a bit of acting sometimes. And I remember a student of mine said, "Wouldn't you like to be an actor?" Not that long ago, when I was still at my last school. And instead of saying no, I kind of went, "Yeah, I think I would now." And it was almost like a revelation to me, answering the question. Like, yeah, I wouldn't mind being an actor now, actually. Because I don't think I had the confidence. I didn't think I was good enough when I was younger. And I did want to be a teacher. So it's funny, but also 10 years ago, I started doing supporting artist work. So I would be background in a lot of things and do one day here and one day there and in the holidays and things like that. And I really loved that as well. And I told my students about it, and they became supporting artists as well. You know, and I was on sex education, and they were like, "Oh, wow, Mrs. on sex education." I was a swim coach going, woo, like that. I mean, it was a tiny bit, but you could see me, you know. So I had the experience of being on set, and I loved it, but I just thought, well, I teach in term time and I do supporting artist work in holiday time, and that makes me happy. And so that was what I thought I was going to be doing for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So you thought, well, okay, to go to when you were studying in school, and you said you would make theater. What does that mean exactly? That you would create your own plays, or you would perform in already written plays?
I mean, we did perform in already written plays, and that was great. But my degree was very much making our own work. It was very devised based, and they would give us an outline of what they wanted us to do, and we just do crazy stuff. Like my friend Abby and I, who I still see now, we did this thing called Lost in Domesticity, I remember, and we had shirts and we buttered the shirts. It was crazy performance art. I remember we buttered the shirts on an ironing board, but we also held the shirts up and projected our faces, kind of going like this, like crazy faces. So our bodies look tiny and our faces look massive. And everyone's going, "Oh, that's not what he wants you to do." And we were like, "Well, we don't care. We're just doing it because this is what we want to do." And we got a first in that particular performance. Wow. So that, again, it kind of gave me confidence. And then Neil, our teacher, was a director, and he chose a few of us to be in a play that went off to the ICA and in London. And it was called Disappearing Tonight at the Elite. And it was just weird and wonderful. And again, made up, but based on a book by Alistair Gray called Lanark. So it was kind of like, it was very experimental, just kind of using music, using lights, using costume, doing kind of 20-minute pieces of theatre to each other. And I just loved it. Yeah, I loved it. And when it was over, I like I said, I felt a little bit lost, because when you're at uni, you've got all the resources and you've got all the teachers and you've got all the people to make whatever it is you're making. And then suddenly it's over and you don't have the resources and the spaces anymore. And I think it was 94 when I graduated. So just like, well, I didn't know about being a supporting artist. I didn't know about how to, nobody really taught us that when we were there, because it wasn't it wasn't like a drama school. It was a degree in performing arts. So it was a bit different. I think if you're at drama school, and at the time it was very expensive to go to drama school. I mean, it's expensive to go to uni now, but I couldn't afford to go to drama school. So I went and got just a degree, which was paid for by the state. So, but not anymore.
What times changed? What's the difference between going to school for performing arts compared to drama?
Okay, so drama school, you pay, and also agents come and see your work at the end of it. So you're more likely to become an actor. And it's much more intensive. And they probably, I mean, our degree didn't really go into voice work and things like that. It was more like just make your own work. And, you know, I think drama school, they would go through physical and vocal classes at a much deeper level than what we did. I'd probably learn how to become an actor, whereas we were just people that joined and made work and learn, you know, we learn about the history of theatre, we learn about directing, we learn about women in theatre, and we learn about, you know, it was started as expressive arts, and then it changed to performing arts, but we learned about, you know, how to create a piece with lights and how to devise a piece that has a structure, but in terms of the body, the voice and the body, we weren't trained as actors. So I think that's the main difference, really.
Did many people that you studied with who were doing performing arts, did they go on to direct and teach as well? Or did some of them go on to perform professionally?
Good question. Beverly Knight was in the year below me. So she got really famous. And then there was a guy called Piers Nimmo. He became an agent. His wife, Marina, is an artist. So yes, they did. My friend Abby, she kind of became a teacher, but now she kind of does property in Portugal, and her sons are in a band and her son's doing really well. But I don't think they did, actually. I don't think, I mean, I don't really know anybody anymore apart from Abby from my degree. Billy, my friend who moved to Australia, she set up, she founded a thing for women who have been in abusive relationships. So the ones that I'm still in contact with have been successful, but they haven't gone on to act. No, not really.
Yeah, interesting. Well, you touched base a little bit earlier regarding your friend that you had met that you decided you're your comedy partner.
Yeah.
You taught at a school for 8 years and then you met your comedy partner. I want to hear about that, how that kind of came to be.
Okay, so she taught Lambda and I was in charge of drama, and it was at a private school. And so she wasn't in every day, but I was in like every day. And she and I hit it off, got on really well, laughed a lot. And then the head of drama, media and English set up this evening called Funny Bones. I think it was 2 evenings, actually. And it was for staff and students to perform comedy. And you could do anything you wanted. You could do a song, you could do a dance, you could do someone else's sketch that's already been written. You could write your own, you could do whatever you wanted. Now, before I started at that school, I had a comedy club called Lady Birdie, and I had this great big wig on, and it was local, and I had vintage light, vintage clothes, and it was like a front room. It was a little bit like there's a show over here years ago called Mrs. Merton, and Carolina Hearn did it, and she dressed up as an old lady and interviewed people, and it was really popular. So it had that kind of vibe to it. And she was quite posh, and she wore slippers and lots of earrings. And I'd say, come sit, and I'd get comedians and I'd go, come sit on my puff, darling, and tell me all about it. It was that kind of character. So anyway, when I started at the school, because I did it on a Saturday every month, and I used to take my van down to this local art centre, and people came to see these comedians, and I was like a compere / comedian. So I thought, well, I'll do Lady Birdie at the school. I'll compere. So that was the first year I compared as Lady Birdie, and it went down really, really well, and it was live. And I took all my things to my classroom. And when I got to the school, they said, oh, by the way, here's your timetable. And it wasn't Monday to Friday. It was Monday to Saturday, but nobody told me at the interview. I went, oh, I can't do Lady Birdie anymore. And working in that kind of school, you can't have hobbies. It's just full on. It's like, wow. It takes up all your time. And when you're not there, you're marking and planning. And when you aren't there, it's full on. So the second year we did it, we let another student usurp me as Lady Birdie, and it was really funny. And I then did something with Emily, my comedy partner. So we basically put these wigs on, old ladies' wigs, dressed up as old ladies, walking sticks. And we found out from all the kids their language, how they speak. So we were little old ladies talking like that and saying, "Oh, you're not my G anymore. I can't go out tonight." And they were hysterical. The kids were in hysterics because we were using their language but as these funny old ladies. And we always ended up with a really stupid dance without walking sticks, like trying to get up and then finally getting up with really bad backs and like dancing. And the wig I had was hysterical because it was a judge's wig. So it was long at the back, like curly. And we didn't care. We just raided the costume cupboard. So then because they liked that, we thought, oh, we're quite funny. People are laughing, finding us funny. So we developed loads of other characters. So my surname's Lane, her surname's Maxwell. So we did a comedy duo as Maxwell and Lane. And we set up an Instagram account. We set up a Facebook account. And we just started filming all the time. And I'd come over with a great big bag of costumes. So we had Gertie and Ethel. They were the old ladies. We had Serena and Rachel. And she was... who was who? I can't remember. I think she's Serena and I'm Rachel. And I kind of want to be like her. And she's like this kind of goddess type woman. And the joke was our souls, but it was our souls. You have to keep our souls clean. And it was just, I've seen this joke used by other comedians, but it is quite funny. And I'm kind of in awe of her. She does a raspberry for a really long time. Like, you hold the breath and breathe in. And she just goes like that for ages, like, and I go, yes, I can do it too. It's just really stupid. And we do yoga and it's just really stupid, but funny and visual. And who else did we have? Oh, Tiff and Kylie, they're kind of beauticians. Who else did we do? Oh, we did two ladies who smelt wine and then they'd be going, I'm getting, and start talking about Keats and things like that and then falling over because they were drunk. Just visual, stupid women with wigs. We loved wigs. And so we did it again, and then we did some filming, and then we did some live theatre on a comedy in a comedy festival in Bath, just up the road, and that was really good fun. And I had a feather duster and I cleansed everyone's auras when we were Serena and Rachel, and it was just funny, you know. And then we did another one in Glastonbury at the Red Brick, which is a venue, and we supported this other comedy duo. And then she moved away. So it kind of nosedived because she was 4 hours away and it was hard enough when she was 20 minutes away to create work. It kind of stopped. So she has come back again now. So I don't know if it will pick up again or not, because a lot of my time is now taken up doing self-tapes for auditions and driving here, there and everywhere and doing jobs.
Mm-hmm.
It might happen again, but comedy, you know, my heart is comedy. And if, you know, that's kind of something that I'd like to do in the future.
Yeah.
But it was really good fun and we laughed a lot, and just writing and laughing and filming just stupid things in her house. You know, we just filmed on an iPhone. Although we did get one of them done professionally at the school because all the kit was there. So they're called the old biddies, Gertie and Ethel. So we did get one done professionally. But yeah, it's all out there. It's all out there. And TikTok as well. We're everywhere, but it's not. We're not writing at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in the future, because when we get together, we have ideas again whenever we get together, but we're both quite busy at the moment. So we just need to get together again and get that spark going again, I think.
Yeah, that's so neat. You said too that when you started working at the school and they said, you know, Monday through Saturday, and it was really hard to have a hobby. How were you all able to do the comedy and the performing? Was it just staying up late or doing that because it was so fun?
Yeah, well, she lived closer to the school than me. So I would go there after school, or we sometimes do it at school, weekends, evenings. Yeah, I'd stay overnight and we'd write things, or I'd just go over or holidays, because the holidays were a lot longer than state education. You get 3 weeks off at Easter, 4 weeks off at Christmas, 10 weeks off in the summer. So yeah, the holidays were really long. So I think because you're there like 110% when you're there, the holidays are longer and you're not there anymore, it's proper holiday. So the holidays worked as well. So yeah, we just kind of, we wanted to do it so much. We made time for it to happen, and just, always had the stuff in at the boots of our car and ordered silly costumes and wigs online and just did it, just filmed it and just did it, wrote it. I mean, a lot of the way I used to work was I would write bare bones. I wouldn't write it all out. And then I'd film myself doing it. And then I'd keep changing it and send it to her on WhatsApp. And then she'd send it back. We'd do a lot of that, just filming stuff. But that's kind of now transpired into me doing self-tapes, which is interesting because I've always quite liked doing something to camera and, seeing what it looks like and then doing it again and improving it. And that's the same thing, is because you don't really, I mean, I've had one audition face-to-face. You don't really have face-to-face auditions these days.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, weirdly, I was on a shoot the other day and I met somebody who is applying for drama school. And this was completely new to me, what she said. But she said that she doesn't go, she has to do self-tapes for drama school. And when I was at my school and all my students were applying for drama school, they were going to face-to-face auditions. And I was helping them rehearse them. The self-tape wasn't there then. And that was, when did I leave? 3 years ago, I think. So things are changing really, really fast.
Wow. Yeah.
But I quite like the self-tape. I mean, being in the room is really good because they get a sense of who you are, and it's an energy thing and it's a gut thing. And you can do it a couple of times, but it's costly, it's time consuming, and you might not get it. And you've gone all that way and all the way back and you didn't get it. Whereas a self-tape, if you don't get it, you just think it's fine. It didn't take as long as it would have taken to travel up to London and audition. And as well as self-tape, you can do as many as you like. And you can send them to friends and say, what do you think of this? Other actor friends. And they can say, oh, try that and try that. So in actual fact, you can do your absolute best work with feedback with the self-tape. So, it has its pros and cons, but it's much easier to do a self-tape. And I don't mind doing them. I quite like it.
Yeah, I could see all that. Yeah, that's so interesting just how that has changed. And even from the time that you were teaching and working with students. So to go to that, actually, since you kind of brought it up, you had experienced some bullying and like in a traumatic situations, which inevitably pushed you out of your job. What happened? And then what did you know to do? What were the next steps for you?
Yeah, it got to a stage where I could not be there anymore. It was so bad. It was like the trauma I was experiencing was unbelievable. I was having panic attacks in my car. I'd have to pull over because my arms would go weird and I couldn't hold the wheel anymore, because I would be crying so much that I would start hyperventilating because it was so stressful. Having somebody just like picking on you and telling you that you're not good when you are good is like, what? What are you doing? So it was so hideous. I had to get out of there. And I did, thankfully. And I remember, students were saying goodbye to me and stuff like that. What do you think you're going to do? And I was like, well, I think I'm going to teach teachers, might do a bit of acting, see what happens, do a bit of supply. It wasn't like, right, I'm going to go and be an actor now. It wasn't that at all. And I did start teaching teachers, and I built a website and I taught teachers, and I went self-employed and I did supply, and the essay work was coming in, and I was saying yes to it always, not just only in the holidays. And I was teaching students. I had a couple of students that I was teaching online. One was in Dubai, one was from the school that I worked at. Taught him for about a year. And then basically I got a shout out for Rivals. This is kind of how I turned the corner, and the teaching and the website that I built and everything wasn't as important anymore. I went I did some training with the RSC as well, which was amazing. It was how to teach Shakespeare using the actors' rehearsal techniques, and it was fantastic. And I did too, and I invested in that, put my money in that, and I was like, right, I'm going to go into schools, I'm going to do workshops, and I've done a workshop, and I have done a workshop in a school down the road. She wants me in again in April. But that's not what rocks my boat anymore. I mean, I like it. I love it. And I can do it. And it's great. And I love seeing kids get up and, developing confidence and learn and, come out going, because it was an RSC week and the teacher said, oh, there were kids there that don't usually talk. So well done. So I got every single child to talk. Wow. And I still love that. But the acting stuff really is what excites me now and what I live for. So I got a shout out for Rivals, which is, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a Jilly Cooper novel turned into a 1980s series. And it's two companies, TV companies that are rivals. So David Tennant plays, just trying to remember his name, Tony, and Declan is played by Aidan Turner. And then there's this other guy, Rupert Campbell Black, who's played by Alex Hassel. And the cast was just like, wow. I mean, the cast was like the best actors in the UK. And Danny Dyer and Emily Atack, and just fantastic, fantastic cast. So it's like, yeah, I'll do that. And, then the rumours start flying around. Oh, David Tennant's in it. You're going, where is he? Where is he? When you get on set. So that was in April, not last year, the year before. And I was due to be on Concord because there's a scene right at the beginning with Concord. So they're rivals and there's lots of, it's very raunchy, very, very raunchy. And it's lighthearted and good fun. And I mean, have a watch. It's on Hulu in America and it's on Disney in this country. And Nefessa Williams is in it. She's from America. And it's just jam-packed full of, like, each episode is jam-packed full of plot. And it's really amazing to look at as well. The costume is fantastic. And I've got naturally curly hair and a grey streak. So I'm kind of growing out my grey. And they said, oh, we're cancelling you on Concord, but we've got loads more dates for you. So I worked on it and I was a TV executive from April through to August. And I'd done 1 day and 2 days here and there over the 10 years. I had been in some really great things. I'd met some really amazing actors. I did the first Wolf Hall. I met Mark Rylance. I did Sex Education. I met the headmaster on it. And I had a good time. But this was like nothing else. This was like, whoa. This was like, you're going to be a featured artist on a show with these amazing actors with your massive hair and your shoulder pads. And all your 80s clothes. And every day, and even though it was April to August, it wasn't every single day that I did it. But when I did it, I would drive there, like singing with the windows open, woo, woo, like, oh, I'm going there. And that's the only place I wanted to be. There was nowhere else in the world that I wanted to be but on set. And, like, one day, I was sat right across the table from David Tennant, and he was telling this guy off. And it was like the mafia, and he was going, has anyone else been seeing? Because there's Corinium and Ventura, so I was Corinium star. Has anyone else been fraternising with Ventura? And he looked over and stared at me. You don't see it in the episode, but I remember just thinking, no, I haven't been. Like, I was so in it. Like, I honestly, Tony, it was just so funny. But the funny thing is about being a supporting artist is you're not an actor. So there is a hierarchy, and that's a bit weird, which I still do essay work, because when I get shout outs, of course I'm going to say yes, because you get paid, you get fed, you see your friends, and you're on set. So I'm still going to do it, but obviously I would prefer to be doing the acting, which I have been doing as well alongside. So it's kind of paralleling a little bit. So just being there and being in it made me think, well, I don't want to be an essay anymore. I want to be an actual actor. And I was put on the podium as well. So it was really weird for me, because there's a scene in episode 8 where there's the two franchises are trying to get airtime, and they're vying for airtime. And there's a massive audience, and we're in the studios, and there's Ventura there with 10 actors on it. No, Corinium there with 10 actors on it, and Ventura over here with 11 actors on it. And they went, "Oh, Birdie, you're going to be on the podium." I was like, "All right, okay." But I didn't know it was only me that was going to be on the podium. I was the 11th person on the podium, and I sat there for 4 days with all these actors. And in the audience was loads of SAs and actors, and then all the actors over there and all the actors here, and me, little old me, going, okay then, okay, breathe, it's fine, you'll be fine. And one of the things they said was, "Oh, we want the lady with the grey streak." And imposter syndrome starts going, "Oh, you're not meant to be here, you know." I'm like, "No, they wanted the lady with the grey streak." I was like telling my imposter syndrome. No, they wanted me. And then all the SAs were going, "Who's that actress? They were going, "She's an SA." And they were like, "Oh, wow." Because I thought the SAs would be going, "Oh, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing?" But they weren't. They were lovely to me. And all the actors were lovely to me. I mean, you know, in that scene, in episode 8, I'm really there. But at the same time, you're like, who's that woman? And why is she there? Which is really funny. So they're making series 2, and David Tennant named me after his mum. So I'll tell you the story, which is quite funny if we've got time. So he goes around. Yeah, great. So he's going around and he's introducing the film star that's in the series to everybody. And I'm in the scene in the office, and I'm looking after Lady Grayson and the Reverend. So I'm sat there, and he's going around saying Lady Grayson, the Reverend, and he got to me and he went, "Madame Chalet," like that. Now, Madame Chalet is a womble from the 1970s, and everybody just burst out laughing. And he went, "It's a person that came to my head," like that. And I overheard him going, "Oh, I'll call her after my mum. So then we went round again, and they went, Lady Grayson, the Reverend, Estelle MacLeod. And so I have been named by David Tennant a character name, Estelle MacLeod. I'm like, brilliant, this is so cool. So then at the very end of the day, it was really funny because they kept saying, "Oh, Birdie, can you get a bit closer to Aidan?" Or, "Birdie, can you do this? Birdie, can you do that?" This was Elliot Haggerty, the director, who's really lovely. And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that, whatever," because we all had to kind of celebrate Declan's first day on set being a presenter. And we all had champagne. We all had to go, "Oh, you're amazing," like this. So then David Tennant, we're at, and David Tennant comes up to me at the end and he goes, "Is your name Birdie?" And I went, "Yeah." And he goes, "My daughter's name's Birdie." And I went, "Oh my God, so I'm your mother and your daughter." So to me, that was like, oh, that was such a great day. It was such a great day just to chat to him, because he is such an amazing actor. They all were. But at the same time, I'm thinking, well, I could do this. I mean, it's much easier than theatre. Theatre, you've got to learn all your lines. You've got to perform the whole thing from beginning to end. But acting on set, you're stopping and starting and doing the same thing over and over again because they want the back shot and the front shot. And, you know, it's personally for me, it's easy compared to theatre. It's easy. Yeah. And I want to do it, you know. And there's David Tennant kind of talking about status, going, "Oh, would I go through the door first?" And because I've got 26 years training, and I got throughout my teaching career, used to go to the National Theatre and do these amazing courses, teacher courses, and come back with all this information. And I've had the training, but I had it as a teacher. And now I can apply that training as an actor. Mm-hmm. And I was sat there wanting to go, well, of course you wouldn't let her go through before you, you know, you're horrible. You'd go through, you know, he's really high status. You go through first. But because you're an SA, it's like you've got to zip your mouth and go, because of the hierarchy, you've got to zip your mouth. But interestingly enough, last summer, I had a very different experience on the set of Change, which is comedy, my favourite thing. And I was lucky enough to get a shout out to be on the Change, and it said Linda's Women. And I went along to Chepstow, drove, met all these people. And the person that has written it is called Bridget Christie, and she's a stand-up comedian, but she's also written it and produced it. And the person that was directing was Mackenzie Crook, who is an actor, and he was in The Office in this country. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean, and he was in The Detectorists. And I have never experienced such an egalitarian, beautiful, equal. Like everybody talked to us, everybody met with us, everybody looked at us, because some actors don't even look at you when you're on set. They don't even make eye contact. And they're in their zone, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But some are lovely, because I did Bridget Jones in the summer, and Renee Zellweger was adorable. And I did Roses, and Olivia Colman was adorable, and they all chatted to me, and, you know, it was amazing. But this particular experience, every single day I had creative contribution, every single day we were all together. In Rivals, the actors were in one room and the supporting artists were in another room, and never the twain shall meet, you know, and they chat a bit, but it's very segregated. But on the Change, there was no segregation. We were all in the same area together. And one day, one of the places was a pub, because we were filming in a pub. So the garden, Holding was a garden. And we were just all there together chatting. And Bridget Christie was amazing. And that's where I got my first line. Mackenzie Crook gave me a line. So I can't wait for this to come out. We were on the poster. We did something really funny for her. I'm probably not allowed to say it, so because it's not out yet. And she threw her arms around me and said, "Oh, Birdie, you're brilliant." And I was like, wow, this is cool. You know, this is even cooler than Rivals, because we were part of it, and we were Linda's women, and it was so funny. It was such a funny script. Everybody laughed every single day, and everybody was equal, and everybody included us. And so that again made me think, there's two doors you can go through. You can go through the supporting artist door, you can go through the actor's door. And I want to go through the actor's door because it's more fun. And supporting artist work is great, but sometimes you are just a blur in the background.
Yeah. I love that you have had multiple experiences, and then, you know, with this most recent one of saying, oh, I want to go through the door of the actor door. You know, you've taught, you're professional in that regard, and then you have the supporting acting experience, but you're wanting to make this way into this new direction. In a way, it's completely new, but you have had all this experience. And there's a couple of things that I want to ask you that because you made the leap to do this professionally. You were teaching, and you had mentioned that earlier, and to me as well. You said, you know, the students had asked you if you ever wanted to act, and you thought it was too late or too hard to get into. And I kind of want to hear your thoughts with that, plus this other question. So I'm going to kind of do two in one. You had read a book as well.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it? How to Ikigai?
How to Ikigai. So when you say Ikigai, you smile. Ikigai, which is great. And the Ikigai women, I think it was New Zealand, went down and swam under the ocean, collected pearls. So that's where the word Ikigai comes from. And do you know what? I think I watched a tiny clip of Ted Taramashu, I think his name is, speaking on a TED Talk. And I just went, I've got to read that book. I've got to read that book. So it's called How to Ikigai. It's really simple, really easy read. And I was reading it before I left the school. And there are 4 rules to How to Ikigai. And what I liked about him as well, he was a creative, so I could really relate to him. He was music, not acting. And he was doing construction, and his dad was construction. And then he said, look, I'm going to go and do music because that's what I want to do. And his dad said, yeah, but as long as you've got something to fall back on, go for it. And he got a job at HMV, and he got paid for doing what he loved. Then he got another job. No, then he was in a band, and he was singing in a band and like doing it live in pubs and stuff like that. And he got paid. Then he sent a cheeky letter to some guy in a, CEO higher up. And he said, I like your energy, even though you're not qualified, I'm taking you on. And he got paid. So the 4 rules are: do what you love, do what makes you happy, do what the world needs, and do what rewards you. So they're so simple. It's like, well, I love being on set. I love comedy. I love acting. I love being with those creative people. I love seeing all of it come together, all the crew, all the cast. You've got someone doing the lighting, you've got someone doing the art, you've got someone doing the set, you've got someone doing the costume, you've got someone doing your hair and makeup, you've got someone doing props. And it's just like this well-oiled, it's like each cog works and it's like this well-oiled machine. And then the product at the end of it is entertainment and making people laugh. And it's just like, that's so cool. And it takes forever to do a tiny amount. You know, it takes days and days to do a tiny amount. And then it's there forever. It's, you know, you've kind of immortalized yourself in film or TV or adverts, and it's there forever, and you can go back and watch it again. But you've made something, and that's what I love about it. You've made something with a whole bunch of professionals that are brilliant at their job, and you've made something really amazing. So that's what I love about it. So that book had a massive effect on me when I was kind of transitioning from being a teacher to not being a teacher. And I just was telling it to everyone all the time, just going around going, how's it going? and it was just so inspiring that I thought, yeah, I can do that. I can do what I love, and I can do what makes me happy, and I can do what the world needs, and I can get rewarded. I can do what, you know, I can get paid for it. So yeah, there was that book, and then the decision, I suppose, to go for it. I just kind of thought, right, I'm just gonna try it. I'm just gonna try it, because if I don't try it, I'll never know. And I don't want to be on my deathbed and go, I should have tried it. I should have tried it. So being pushed out was a blessing, because there's no way I would have done it if I hadn't been pushed out, because I was going to stay there till retirement. I was going to stay there. I wouldn't have done it. And now I'm doing it. I'm like, woo! You know, I get up in the morning, and if I'm doing something, like I did an advert last week, I'm doing an advert next week, I'm like, yeah, I'm so excited. And I'm driving into the unknown. I don't know who I'm going to meet. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I've been chosen to do that thing. And I just think, this is so exciting. I did the most fantastic advert last week, met the most amazing people. It took us 2 days to do a 30-second advert. Technically, really challenging, using my skills, you know, not background, actually a role. And the last day was 14 hours. I don't care that's 14 hours. I don't care, because I love it.
Yeah. You're doing you're doing what you want to do. And, you know, to kind of go to that part of that question too of, you know, at one point you felt like you're too old, too late. Obviously you're doing it, so you're not believing that anymore. And you had to jump from I'm too old, it's too late to no, it's not. I can give it a chance. You know, if I'm on my deathbed, then I don't want to look back and regret that I never did it. Was it?
Yeah.
Is it? Because I know you've been doing it for a couple years now, but even more so, you said since last summer of making that decision. Is it still something that you think about of, am I too late? Is it really, am I too old? Or you're like, no, I'm just getting started.
Never anymore. I am just getting started. And it's funny because I'm meeting actors now. And I met an actor last week who's been in the game for 40 years. He's probably about, I don't know, 10 years older than me. And he said, it's funny because you're your age now, but you're a new face, you're a fresh face. He said, they know me. You know, oh, it's Alistair again, you know. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. And also, there are so many mum roles. There are so many middle-aged woman roles. I'm a mum, I'm a middle-aged woman. So they're going to need grandmas. You know, they're going to need, it's not, you don't have to be a perfect model. It's a character. You're representing a character from a real life. And there are people in real life that are my age. So, you know, and I think, exactly. I just think, well, you know, if I did it years ago, I might not have been as confident, or I might have gone down a wrong path, or who knows? I don't know. But now is now. It's now. My time is now. So it doesn't matter that I didn't do it in my 30s and 40s, because I was, like you said, I was doing it in a different context. So yeah, I just kind of thought, do you know what? I'm just going to apply for stuff. I need to get headshots. I need to get a show reel. I need to get this. I need to do this. I need to do this. And I just did it. And I applied for 3 student films and I got them all. And that meant that I could have a show reel. One of them I was the lead. 2 of them I was supporting. They were drama. It was drama. It wasn't comedy. So I got a drama show reel. Comedy show reel, I'd already done loads of stuff. So I was able to get a comedy show reel. One of the films I was supporting in, called Matches, by the Pasvar University students, has been shortlisted for the best student film. And it's showing in Paris on the 7th of March.
Wow.
I know. It's like, wow. And it's now, it's like I'm on set and I get booked for another thing and I find out about that. Like day 1 on set last week, I got booked for an ad next week. And then day 2 on set, I found out about Matches. And that's what my life is like now. It's like a really lovely snowball. Or it's like the tap is just turned on. It's just the tap's turned on. And I'm just going, just drinking it all in, like, yeah, okay. And it is work, you know, I do have to do self-tapes. I am applying for things. There are things that I don't get, and that's fine. But there are things that I do get. So, I mean, the thing that I did last week, I applied for the lead, but I didn't get the lead. They gave me another role. And all the other people had to do movement-based stuff. And I said, oh, why did you pick me? And they said, we just loved your energy and we knew we had to have you. And I said, thanks, that's really nice. You know, that's really, that my energy, like we talked about earlier, about being in the room, that energy can still come across on a self-tape, you know. And I did this great course with Mel Churcher at Spotlight on how to do a good self-tape. And a lot of it's about warming up and being genuine. And one of the things she did, she got us all to tell stories. And she said, and then we had to watch ourselves telling the stories. She said, look at the sparkle in your eyes when you're telling the stories, because those stories are real, because it's real. And that was really helpful for me to warm up and make whatever you're doing real, make it real and get that sparkle in the eye, because they're looking at these self-tapes. They're looking at thousands more now than they were when they were auditioning in the room. So your competition is higher. But if you've got that sparkle and you've got that energy, they can still get a gut feeling, even though you're on camera, they can still get a gut feeling and go, she's the one, or she's not the one. And sometimes I'm not the one, and sometimes I am. So I'm happy when I am. And I just think, yay, I've got a job. Woo! And it's like an adventure, you know, it's another adventure. You're having fun, you're meeting people, and you're getting paid. So it comes back to the four things from the Ikigai.
Yeah.
It's amazing, really.
Yeah, that's so neat. And I love too that, you know, because you have taught so many students and, you know, I would imagine prepping them and teaching them that rejection is inevitable, that you know that is expected, but then also you hope that you can get a role and that your presence and how people feel around you, whether it's, you know, virtual or not, like that is very telling as well. I mean, I can already tell too, Birdie. I'm like, from the second we started chatting, I just thought, oh, I just love just your personality and your energy. I mean, not to be too repetitive, but I'd love to, Birdie, to have you share a little bit about some of the projects that you're working on or some of the things that you are looking forward to now that you're all in.
Yeah. Okay. So I did those 3 student films and they were great. And then obviously the change was amazing, getting that line and being with those people, work with those people. And now the adverts are just coming in thick and fast. It's just funny. It's almost like, oh, I've got another one. All my friends are going, you're like the advert queen. Like, I know. It's just madness. So I did an advert for Sky Bet, Cheltenham Races. That was my very first advert.
Wait.
And I got that. Sorry?
Birdie.
Hello?
I'm sorry. Can you tell us what an advert is?
Oh, a commercial.
Oh, advertisement. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. An ad for sure, or commercial. Yeah. So my very first one I got via, because I'm with a lot of agencies for my supporting artists work, and I got via one of my new agencies, and it was an agency coming through them saying, can you do a self-tape of some facial expressions in slow motion? And I was like, yeah, all right. And I was on set in Wales in a hotel doing it. Like, okay, I'll do it. Sent it the next day because it wouldn't go. And then I went, and all we did all day was, yeah, I love it's so funny. And I didn't see it for ages. And then I found it. I got in touch with the director and I found it. It's like, oh, it's there. There it is. Because I just saw the stills. So that was really good because then the thing is, I'm on Spotlight. I'm on something called Mandy. I'm on something called Star Now. I'm on something else called Casting Callback. And they're like platforms where all jobs are advertised and you can put your reels and everything you've done on. So it's like, brilliant. I've got that now. I've got 3 student films. I've got 2 show reels. Well, my show reels I got done. I met somebody on the Change called Alex, who's a screenwriter, and he just did it for me for a favour, and I paid him a little bit of money, but not as much as I would have done if I'd got them done professionally. So I was like, right, building up. So that Sky Bet one was on there. And then, I'm just trying to think. Then I did, what else did I do? I did another ad for Virgin Red, which was really, really good fun. And it's called Unleash Holiday U. So I'm on Mandy every day, like, and Casting Callback every day. And I go on Spotlight a bit, but oh yeah, I remember now. I got an agent from Threads, but they haven't got me any work yet. Then I got another agent in the summer and they haven't got me any work yet either, but they've sent me more self-tapes. So I have been self-taping for these agents, but didn't get the work. I've just remembered the big one. Yeah. Okay. Virgin Red came later. So then I saw on Casting Callback that they wanted somebody for a Farmer ad. And all I wanted to do is put your photos up. That's all I wanted to do. So I put my photos up and I sent it in and they got back to me and they said, oh, can you come and audition? So this is one audition I did. So I went up to London and it was for Pfizer and I think it's for an oral tablet for Pfizer. So I went there and there's this great guy called Alex Telfer, who was the director. He's got an amazing kind of, everything on his Instagram's amazing. He's up there. So they said, oh, can you sneeze and look hopeful? So that was my audition. And I got it. I said, oh, wow, I got it. And it was good. It was well paid and it was a really nice job. So my sister lives in London. I live in Somerset. So when I get a job in London, I go and stay with my sister. It was 10 minutes from my sister's house, in a house. I had to sneeze and look hopeful loads of times in a bed. And then I had to look after my husband and my mother. And my husband was a New York comedian called Mike Pizzola. Sorry, Mike, if I've said your surname wrong. Anyway, he was making me laugh and we were laughing in between takes and being really stupid. He's going, can I go out? I was like, no. And they made all his nose red. I was going, no. And he was going, just with some of my friends. I was going, you haven't got any. And he was going, hey, get this. Much funnier over here. And all the big wigs from New York were over. And we had so much fun. We had so much fun. I got paid a lot of money for one day's work.
Wow.
And then I've been contacting them saying, where's this work? Can I see it? Never seen it. Now, the funny thing is, the 2 women that were my rocks when I was at this school who helped me, Amy and Gail, took the students from the school to New York with them not that long ago in December. And I get a WhatsApp message from them with a photograph of me in New York.
No way.
Yeah. Being ill. The face of COVID. And then the next photo was Amy in the subway pointing up and I'm inside it as well. The same photo. And it's a massive, I know. And the karmic kind of, the karmic energy of that was really, really funny. Because I've got over all that now. It took me a while to get over, but I'm so over it. But it was just funny that it happened to be them, those 2 women. And then Mike, the one that played my husband, went back to New York and he sent me a photo in January at LaGuardia. And the people are about that big and I am massive. And it's my sneezing face on a massive billboard at the airport.
Now this January, the one that we're in right now?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know. So I'm all over New York. So, I haven't seen it. And then one of my students, Millie, she's an actress in New York and she is adorable. And she saw it as well. And she didn't see it. She hasn't seen it. She saw the photo. But she went to that school as well. And I saw her in London with another 2 ex-students the other day. And one of the things one particular member of staff said to me once was, the students are not your friends. And I said, that night when we were all out having dinner and then went for a drink, and they're all in their 20s. So I said, you are my friends. You are my friends. And they love me and I love them. And they're like, you inspired us and I inspired her to become an actor and that kind of thing. And I just love the way that it all comes back really beautifully. So that Pfizer one was a really big one, even though I haven't seen the moving image. And then after Pfizer, I did another one. And all of these I've applied for myself and got myself, not through my agent. And I just don't stop. I bought the kit, I bought a backdrop, I bought a thing to put my phone on to record. I just don't stop. Some days I go, right, I'm not going to do any supply, I'm not going to do anything. I've just got a load of self-tapes to do. So I did Virgin Red one, which was great fun. And we're doing really boring things. So I'm opening a jar of pickles. And then it turns into me having champagne in a hotel. So it's all green screen. And then I'm painting something with this like teal coloured paint. I get it all over my face. Then it turns into a face pack. And it's like dancey. And the girl that was on that was also the girl that played the elder daughter on the advert last week, which was really weird. So all these connections are starting. Then I did, so they were all facial expressions only. There was no speaking in these ads. And then I got 2 ads and I did one on the Monday and one on the Tuesday in October, possibly November. Can't remember. October, November time. And I had a line, anytime who? Because it was for this thing called Anytime Fitness. So I was like, yeah, I've got a line. A paid ad with a line.
Yeah.
And then the next one was IBM. And this was funny because I had to be angry about my computer and I had to do it for 20 seconds. And it wasn't scripted, it was improvised, which are the best ones because you can be your authentic, genuine self. I showed it to my daughter. She goes, you're not acting there, Mum. I've seen you like getting angry with technology. That's IBM and that hasn't come out yet. And that was amazing fun and it was local. So that was really good. And all of these things you see, I'm putting them on all of my platforms and it looks like a woman that's getting work now. She's done that and that.
Yeah,
done that.
that's it. I love it, Birdie, because you're getting work. I love the full circle moment of the Pfizer ad and your students being in New York, and then your former coworkers seeing that, sending you the picture, the gentleman that you worked in the ad with, sending it to you as well. It's just it's
funny.
really cool. And we're going a little past our time, so I have my last question for you. But it was really, really neat because you said you were pleased that you went through that. And I know not in the middle of it, you were pleased that you went through the traumatic bullying experience because you wouldn't have never left education. And so now you said you're the happiest you've ever been. You get a high from being on set and you love giving your best to productions and you just want to do this forever. And, you thought at one point that it was too late or too unrealistic, but you are living proof that it isn't too late. How old are you now, Birdie?
I am 54. I've got an ad next week in Norfolk and I've got an ad at the end of the month in the Bahamas.
Ooh, look at you, Birdie.
And I'm a lead and it's going to be on UK telly. So I'm just like, wow, at the moment. I mean, when I got that, I was so excited. And I'm 55 in May and I just want to carry on doing it, until I drop.
Yes. So you're 54. You're starting this chapter. You've been starting it for, a little over a year or so now. You never expected that you were going to because you thought you were going to teach until retirement. And so for women who they may not have the same desire, they may not even know that there is a desire out there, like you never really thought that this was going to be what was happening. But if you could just encourage one woman who does feel blocked or limited to pursue a dream or goal based on her age or a life circumstance, what would you say to her?
I would say jump. Jump in. Just jump in because it's amazing. I mean, it's like the Pointer Sisters, jump in. I used to listen to that as a kid. I still listen to it now because they're so upbeat and I'm so excited and all that upbeat music. Jump in and don't be scared. I mean, I had to leave. I was forced to leave. But if you've got a niggle and you're thinking, oh, but money and oh, but this and oh, but that, just jump in, because if you're doing what you love, if you follow the Ikigai rules and you're doing what you love and you're doing what the world needs, you will get rewarded financially. You will. So, you know, even if there might be a little bit of time where you maybe have to go without for a little while, or your lifestyle changes because you don't have, I mean, I had a good income coming in every month. I've got a mortgage, I've got a child, I've got a husband, you know, we need that money. So it's money and fear of not being paid, I think. Fear of not being paid for doing what you love that stops people. But I'm being paid for doing what I love. And some of the jobs I get 0, and some of the jobs I get a lot. And then in between that, I can do supply. And I did have a speaking role in December on a film called Merry Christmas. I got nothing. I got no petrol. I got no pay. I got nothing. But I got an IMDb. That's pay for me. Mm-hmm. The show reel, that's pay for me. The contacts, that's pay for me. So don't let money and the lack of money and worrying and fear about I won't be able to pay the mortgage stop you from doing what you want to do. Because once you jump in, you're doing what you love because you're supposed to be doing that. So of course you're going to get paid because you're supposed, that's your role in life, to do what you love, you know? So many kids at the school that I worked in wanted to act, but their parents wanted them to be a doctor or wanted, I used to say, just do it. Don't do what your parents want you to do. It's your life. It's not your parents' life, which is a bit contentious, but you just got to do what you want to do. You only get this, you get one chance around this planet. Who knows after, who knows? But, you know, it goes so fast. And like we were talking about earlier, you don't want to be on your deathbed going, oh, I wish I did that.
Right.
So jump now, whatever age you are, off the diving board, in to the water.
Yeah, don't step in, jump. I love it, Birdie. We are going to be seeing you. I'm going to look for that Pfizer ad next time I'm at LaGuardia. Maybe it's at a different airport too, locally for us over here in the States. Birdie, please share where people can find you. And then, like I said, we'll be looking for you all over.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, thank you. So Maxwell and Lane is on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Birdie Num Nums on Instagram, but I am private. But I am accepting people in the industry to follow back. And my spotlight is Birdy Lane as well. So you'll see me on The Change. That's coming out soon. And I also, Olivia Colman threw an hors d'oeuvre out of my hand in Roses, which is coming out, don't know when, but that was really good fun. And I'm very, very background on Bridget Jones, which is coming out as well. But hopefully what my dream is, and I love doing ads, they're great, but what my dream is to get a role on something that's kind of funny and dark, but a role as an actor with lines, with an ensemble cast, doing something that really, that I can relate to, like The Change, because that's about menopausal women and it's funny and it's got this kind of pagan feel to it and I can relate to it. So something like that. I mean, that's what I hope to happen, is that I'm on something as an actor next time.
I think it's going to happen. I look forward to seeing that, Birdie. I'm going to put all that information on the show notes. Birdie, thank you so much for taking time and joining me today on the More Than Your Age podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me, Erica. You've been an absolute delight. Your lovely little smiley face there. And it's just really nice to talk to you. And, you know, I just feel like I'm talking to my friends. So thank you. It's been lovely.
I loved it too. Thank you.